It was 2:17 a.m. The house was silent, except for the hum of the refrigerator and the sound of my own breathing, shaky, uneven, breaking. I was sitting on the kitchen floor, clutching a white envelope like it was a weapon, or maybe a warning. Inside it was the truth. The kind of truth that doesn't just hurt. It destroys everything. And the worst part? My husband asked for it. I want a DNA test. That's what Daniel said. No hesitation. No emotion. No apology. Just 6 words that shattered 8 years of marriage. At first, I laughed. I actually laughed, because there was no way, no possible way, that the man who once held my hand through panic attacks, who cried when our son was born, who promised me forever, would look me in the eyes and question the one thing I had never broken: my loyalty. "Daniel, what kind of joke is this?" I asked. But he didn't smile. "I'm not joking, Emma." And just like that, my world tilted. "Say that again," I whispered. "I want a DNA test," he repeated. "I need to know if Liam is really my son." Liam, our 6-year-old boy, the one who had Daniel's dimples, the one who waited by the door every evening just to yell, "Daddy's home!" I felt something crack inside my chest. "You think I cheated on you?" I asked, my voice trembling. "I don't know what to think anymore," he said coldly. "Not no, not never, just doubt." A week earlier, everything was normal. We were laughing over takeout. Liam was building Lego towers on the floor. Daniel had his arm around me, but then his mother came to visit. She watched Liam carefully, too carefully. And then she said it. "Are you sure he looks like you, Daniel?" It sounded innocent, but it wasn't. Something shifted in that moment. I saw it in Daniel's eyes, a seed of doubt, planted, and now it had grown into something ugly. After that day, Daniel changed. He stopped playing with Liam, stopped kissing me goodbye, stopped looking at us like we were his family. Instead, he observed, like we were strangers, like we were suspects. "Why are you acting like this?" I asked him one night. "Because something doesn't feel right," he replied. "What doesn't feel right?" "You." That was the night he said it. "I want the test." And suddenly, I wasn't his wife anymore. I was a question mark, a doubt, a possible lie. I didn't sleep that night. Liam crawled into bed beside me, wrapping his tiny arm around my neck. "Mommy, are you sad?" he mumbled. I swallowed my tears. "No, baby, Mommy's okay." But I wasn't, because I realized something in that moment. If I refused the test, he would always doubt me. But if I agreed, I might lose him anyway. The next morning, I said yes. Not because I needed to prove anything, but because I needed the truth to slap him in the face. We sat in silence at the clinic. Cold chairs, bright lights, no warmth. The nurse smiled gently. "This will just take a few minutes." Just a few minutes, to test a lifetime of trust. Daniel didn't look at me once. 5 days. That's how long it took for the results. 5 days of silence. 5 days of distance. 5 days of watching my son ask, "Why doesn't Daddy play with me anymore?" And 5 days of me lying through my teeth. "He's just busy, sweetheart." And now, here I was, 2:17 a.m., holding the envelope. Daniel stood across the kitchen, arms crossed. "Open it," he said. His voice was steady, confident, like he already knew what it would say. My fingers trembled as I tore it open. The paper felt heavier than it should. I scanned the words, and then everything stopped, because right there, in black and white, it said, "Probability of paternity, 0%. Daniel let out a slow breath, almost like relief. "I knew it," he muttered. I looked up at him, really looked at him. And for the first time, I didn't see my husband. I saw a man who had just destroyed his own life and didn't even realize it yet. "Emma, how could you?" he said, shaking his head. But I didn't answer right away, because my mind was racing. This result, it wasn't just shocking. It was impossible. I stood up slowly, walked toward him, and placed the paper in his hands. "Daniel," I said quietly, locking eyes with him. "Liam is my son." His jaw tightened. "Clearly not mine." I leaned closer and whispered the truth that would shatter him. "Then maybe you're not who you think you are." Daniel stared at me, confused, angry, shaken. "What does that even mean?" he snapped. "Stop playing games, Emma." I didn't blink. "I'm not playing," I said quietly. The room felt colder than before. The same kitchen, the same walls, but suddenly, we weren't the same people anymore. "Say it clearly." Daniel stepped closer. "Are you trying to say I'm not his father? Because the test already proved that." His voice had that edge again, that cold, defensive tone he used when he thought he was right. But this time, he wasn't. "Do you remember the day Liam was born?" I asked. He frowned. "What kind of question is that?" "Just answer me." "Of course I remember. Why wouldn't I?" I held his gaze. "Then you should remember something else too." He didn't respond, so I said it. "You weren't there." The words hit him like a slap. "What?" he said. "You weren't there when Liam was born?" I repeated. "You came later." "That's not true," he said quickly. "I was there the whole time." "No," I said softly. "You think you were." His expression shifted. For the first time, doubt crept into his eyes. "I was stuck in traffic," he said slowly. "But I made it before—" "No," I interrupted. "You arrived after he was already in my arms." He opened his mouth, then closed it, because deep down, he remembered. "It was chaos," I continued. 3 women in labor at the same time, nurses running everywhere, doctors switching rooms. I could still see it, the bright lights, the noise, the exhaustion. "They took Liam away for a few minutes after he was born," I said. Daniel's breathing changed. "What are you saying?" "I'm saying, what if the test isn't exposing me?" I paused. "What if it's exposing something else?" Daniel shook his head immediately. No, that's ridiculous." But his voice wasn't as strong anymore. "Hospital mix-ups don't just happen like that." "Actually," I said calmly, "they do." I turned toward the counter and picked up another envelope. This one, older, slightly wrinkled. "I didn't sleep for 5 days either," I said. "While you were doubting me, I was digging." His eyes narrowed. "What is that?" I held it out. "My own test." "You did another DNA test?" he asked. "Yes." "Why?" "Because, unlike you," I said, my voice steady, "I don't jump to conclusions, I look for truth." He grabbed the envelope, tore it open, scanned the page. And then, his entire body froze. His lips moved silently as he read it again. And again, as if the words might change, but they didn't. Because this time, the result didn't just shake him. It destroyed him. Probability of maternity, 0%. The air left the room. Completely. Daniel looked up at me slowly, his face pale. This doesn't make sense," he whispered. But I could see it. The moment everything clicked. "If I'm not his mother," I said softly, "and you're not his father." I swallowed hard. "Then whose child have we been raising for 6 years?" Daniel staggered back like he'd been hit. No, this is wrong." He ran his hand through his hair, pacing. "This is impossible. There's no way." But there was a way, and now, He knew it. You accused me, I said quietly. You looked me in the eyes and thought I betrayed you? He didn't respond, because now he was questioning everything, not me, himself, reality, the past. What about Liam? He whispered. That one word broke me, because no matter what the test said, he was still our son, the boy who called us mom and dad, the boy who trusted us completely. I took a deep breath. I contacted the hospital. Daniel's head snapped up. And? They said there was an incident that night. I stepped closer, lowered my voice, and said the words that would change everything. There was another baby, born at the exact same time. Daniel didn't speak. Not right away. He just stood there, staring at me like the ground beneath him had disappeared. There was another baby? He finally said, his voice barely above a whisper. I nodded. Same night, same hospital, same time. The hospital called it a possible identification error, I continued. Daniel let out a dry laugh. Possible? He said. Emma, this isn't possible. This is a disaster. I didn't argue, because he was right. This wasn't just a mistake. This was 6 years of our lives, built on the wrong truth. Liam. From the hallway, we heard a small voice. Mom? My heart dropped. Liam stood there, rubbing his eyes, holding his little blanket. I had a bad dream. I rushed to him immediately. It's okay, baby, I whispered, kneeling down and pulling him into my arms. He wrapped himself around me. Warm, safe, mine. No test in the world could change that. Why is Dad shouting? He asked softly. I froze. Behind me, Daniel couldn't even look at him. And that hurt more than anything. That night, after Liam fell back asleep, we sat in silence. We have to find out the truth, Daniel said finally. I nodded, but my chest tightened. Because I knew what truth meant. It meant another family, another child, another life. The next morning, we went to the hospital. Cold hallways, sterile smell, too many memories. A woman from administration met us in a private room. I'm so sorry, she said gently. We recently discovered a documentation error from that night. Daniel leaned forward. What kind of error? She hesitated and then said it. 2 newborn boys were placed in the wrong bassinets for a short period of time. How short? I asked. She looked down at the file. Long enough for discharge records to be switched. Daniel exhaled slowly. So, you're telling me? He said. We took home the wrong child? The woman nodded. I couldn't breathe. 6 years, 6 birthdays, 6 years of first steps, first words, first everything. And now? It was all wrong? There was another couple, the woman continued. They had a baby boy the same night. Daniel's jaw tightened. Do they know? She nodded slowly. Yes, we contacted them after reviewing the records. They know, I whispered. And we didn't? I'm very sorry, she repeated. But sorry wasn't enough. Sorry couldn't fix this. They want to meet you, she said. Daniel and I both looked up. What? He asked. The other family, she explained. They've agreed to a meeting, if you're willing. Every part of me screamed, no, 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 because meeting them made this real. Daniel's voice. We'll do it, Daniel said. I looked at him shocked. Daniel, we need answers, he said firmly. But I could see it. This wasn't just about answers anymore. This was about control, guilt, and something else. Fear. That night, I sat beside Liam as he slept, his tiny chest rising and falling, his hand curled around mine. Mommy, he murmured in his sleep. Tears rolled down my face, because no matter what the world said, he was my son. The next day, we went. A small room, neutral walls, too quiet. And then, the door opened, a couple walked in. The woman looked exhausted. The man, tense, just like Daniel. And between them, a little boy. About Liam's age. My heart stopped, because the second I saw him, something inside me shattered. Not a little. Not maybe. Exactly. Same eyes, same hair, same face shape. Like I was looking at my own child. The woman looked at Liam and gasped. Her hand flew to her mouth. Tears filled her eyes instantly. "Oh my God," she whispered, because we all saw it. We all knew. This wasn't confusion anymore. This was truth. The boy standing in front of me was mine, and the boy sleeping in my home was hers. No one spoke. Not me, not Daniel, not them. Because in that moment, words didn't matter. The truth was standing right in front of us. 2 boys, 2 lives. Liam stood beside me, holding my hand tightly. Across the room, the other boy, Ethan, stood close to his mother. Both boys looked confused, curious, innocent, completely unaware that their entire worlds were about to change. "Hi," the other mother said softly. Her voice trembled. "I'm Rachel." I nodded slowly. "Emma." Our eyes met, and instantly, we both started crying, because no one else in that room could understand what we were feeling. Only her. Daniel stood stiff, arms crossed. Rachel's husband, Mark, looked just as tense. Neither of them spoke. Because this wasn't something logic could fix. This was emotional chaos. "The boys meet. Can we sit?" Rachel asked gently. We all sat down. Liam looked at Ethan. Ethan looked back. "Hi," Liam said. "Hi," Ethan replied. And just like that, they smiled, like kids do. Simple, easy, no fear, no confusion, just curiosity. And that broke me. Because while we were falling apart, they were just being children. "We need to talk about what happens next," Mark finally said. His voice was calm, but firm. Rachel nodded, wiping her tears. "We can't just ignore this." Daniel spoke for the first time. "So what are you suggesting?" Rachel hesitated, then said it. "Maybe they should go back to their biological families." The room froze. My heart stopped. "No," I said immediately. "Too fast. Too strong." "No." Daniel looked at me. "Emma." "No," I repeated, shaking my head. "He's my son." "Biologically, he's not," Mark said carefully. I snapped. "I don't care." "I carried him in my heart for 6 years," I said, my voice breaking. "I held him when he cried. I taught him how to speak, how to walk, how to love." Tears streamed down my face. "You don't just replace that." Rachel started crying harder. "I feel the same way," she whispered. "I raised him too. I love him." She looked at Liam. "He calls me Mom." 2 mothers, 2 fathers, 2 children. And only one truth. No one could win. "We might need legal guidance," Mark said quietly. Daniel nodded. "I agree." "You agree?" I turned to him. "You're actually considering this?" He looked torn. "I don't know what's right anymore." "Really?" I said, my voice rising. "You doubted me. You accused me. You destroyed our marriage. And now, you're ready to give up our son too?" "I'm not giving him up," Daniel said quickly. "I'm trying to fix this." "You can't fix this," I cried. "You broke it." "Mom?" Liam's voice was small. I froze. He looked scared now. "Why are you crying?" I forced a smile. "It's nothing, baby." But he didn't believe me. Children always know. Rachel spoke softly. "Maybe we don't rush." We all looked at her. "We keep things the same for now," she said. "No sudden changes, no switching." Mark nodded slowly. "That makes sense. But," Rachel added, "they should know each other." Playdates, she said. Time together. So they can understand. Slowly. I didn't like it. Every part of me resisted because deep down, I was afraid. Afraid Liam would connect with her. Afraid I would lose him. I think that's fair, Daniel said. Of course he did, because now he was trying to fix his guilt. At home, Liam fell asleep beside me. I watched him for hours, memorizing every detail, every breath, every little movement. What if, one day, he wasn't here anymore? Emma, Daniel said softly from the doorway. I didn't look at him. Please, just listen. No, I whispered. You didn't trust me, I said. You chose doubt over love. Silence. And now, I continued, we're paying the price. I finally looked at him, tears in my eyes, voice steady. You didn't just ask for a DNA test, Daniel. I paused. You destroyed your family. Weeks passed, but nothing felt normal anymore. Liam still laughed, still played, still called me Mom. But something had changed. He noticed the visits, the meetings, the way adults whispered when he walked into the room. At first, the playdates were awkward. Liam and Ethan sat across from each other. Quiet, observing. Almost like mirrors trying to understand their reflection. But kids, they adapt faster than adults. Within days, they were laughing, running, sharing toys, like they had known each other forever. Because the more they bonded, the more real it became. They were connected by something deeper than memories. Eventually, lawyers got involved, not because anyone wanted a fight, but because the world needed answers. The hospital admitted fault. A full investigation confirmed it. The babies had been switched. A mistake. One moment of chaos. That changed 4 lives forever. The court didn't force a swap. They couldn't. Because love isn't something you can legally transfer. Instead, they gave us a choice. We sat together one last time. Me, Daniel, Rachel, Mark, 4 broken adults, trying to decide the future of 2 innocent boys. I can't give him up, I said. Rachel nodded through tears. Neither can I. Because the truth was simple, painfully simple. Biology mattered, but love mattered more. So we made a decision. Not perfect, not easy, but real. The boys would stay where they were raised. We would co-parent, in a way no one ever imagines. They would grow up knowing the truth. Slowly, carefully. 2 families, connected forever. But Daniel, he was different now. Quieter. Broken in a way I had never seen before. One night, he finally said it. I ruined everything. Because part of me still believed that. I should have trusted you, he said. I should have protected you, instead of accusing you. His voice cracked. I destroyed us. Yes, I said softly. You did. He closed his eyes, like he had been waiting to hear it. I don't think I can stay, I continued. His eyes opened immediately. What? I can't forget what you did, I said. You didn't just doubt me. You humiliated me. Tears rolled down his face. Emma, please. I loved you, I whispered, but love without trust. I shook my head. It doesn't survive. He didn't fight anymore because deep down, he knew. The next morning, Daniel sat with Liam. Hey, buddy, he said gently. Yeah, Dad? Daniel's voice broke. I love you, always. Liam smiled. I know. And that's when it hit him. It didn't matter what any test said. That boy was his son in every way that mattered. But by then, it was too late. Months later, life looked different. Not perfect, but healing. Liam had 2 families now. More love, more support, and slowly, understanding. And me? I rebuilt myself. piece by piece, stronger than before. Not because I wanted to be, but because I had to be. People always ask, what destroyed your marriage? Was it the hospital mistake? The switched babies? The truth? No. It was 6 simple words. I want a DNA test, because sometimes it's not the truth that destroys you. It's the doubt that comes before it. If this story made you feel something, don't forget to subscribe, because the next one might change how you see everything.